the Fantasy Fanatics. I'm here with Nathan. Nathan,
What's up, guys?
How was week 2 for you?
Week 2 was fantastic. I'm 2-0, sitting at the top of my league. Our league, I'm in third on point differential, but I can't complain. I've got a great squad as long as they stay healthy. How are you feeling?
I
have to scroll down a ways to get to your team.
I'm not great. I'm sitting in last, but that was the plan. We wanted to shoot for waivers for the first 2 weeks. It's all going to plan. Everything is fine.
Yep.
Last week, we kind of said, here's 4 waiver guys that we're looking at, and we did every position. We haven't even discussed it yet. We're just kind of free-balling it.
Free balling it. Okay. I can roll with it. I think 2 of our quarterbacks are going to be the exact same 2 from last week. We tried to tell you get them last week. Get them again this week.
To switch things up, I'm going to go with a different quarterback.
All right.
Other than that's
to be clear, Carson Wentz and Mariota, if they're available, I love them as plays this week.
Would you like to? I'm looking at the free agent quarterbacks in our league. Would you like to know who leads the league in completion percentage?
I know who leads the league in completion percentage. He also sucks. He is also tied for the lead in his division, though.
We were talking about Geno.
My main man.
We are talking about Geno Smith. So let's go. I'll go quarterback. You can go quarterback, and then so on. I'm going to go with kind of a sleeper one that you're probably going to throw up at. Jimmy Garoppolo.
Okay.
There it is. Doesn't have a great matchup this week against Denver, but he's got Deebo Samuel, he's got George Kittle, and Brandon Ayuk. That's one of the best receiving cores in the league. I'd say it's top 10.
Sure, top 10. Yeah.
If Brandon Ayuk can emerge,
and if Kittle plays,
yeah. But Jimmy Garoppolo isn't going to win you your week, but he isn't going to lose. I think he could be one of the safer quarterbacks. Especially in like 12, 14, 16 team leagues. I think he needs to be rostered now that Trey Lance is out for the year. What do you think?
I disagree. But I disagree. I don't think he's very valuable. I wouldn't even roster him in those leagues because everybody else on waivers is probably about equally valuable. But for this week, a quarterback in free agency that I am looking at as a very viable fill-in is Jared Goff. They play at Minnesota. The Lions' offenses look great. Minnesota's offense, I expect to bounce back. I could see this being very high scoring. Both Goff and Cousins probably throwing the ball, close to 40 times. It wouldn't surprise me if it's just an absolute shootout in Minnesota. So he's one of them available. I don't have he is rostered in only 7% of leagues. So if he's available and maybe you had Trey Lance, maybe you're not confident in Brady or Rodgers or Russell Wilson, Jared Goff might be a viable option this week for you.
Yeah, I'm looking at some running backs right now. I kind of knew who I was going to say in here, and it's kind of just I don't know if I would waste one on him. It's Eno Benjamin. I was telling you about him earlier. James Conner's status is in doubt. I'm not sure if he would be. I still think he would get 50% or plus 50% snaps if he is the starting running back. He is competing with Darrell Williams, but Darrell Williams hasn't really competed for touches with that RB2 role. And Eno Benjamin kind of looks good when he gets in there too. So if James Conner misses, I think he's a fine flex. I think he's a better option than Mark Ingram was last week.
Yeah, well, Mark Ingram did have a horrible matchup. So
yeah.
I personally think Darrell Williams is the one you want to go with there, but I get it if you want to go with Eno. It's hard to really predict one over the other. We'll get to that question in just 1 minute. My running backs, I'm going to give you a quick little 2-for-1. I think if Tyler Allgeier is available, I like his upside. Cordero's kind of injury prone, and Damian Williams is on IR. And also Jordan Mason, just because 49ers running back, it can be anybody, any week. Keep your eyes out for Marlon Mack if he has a good game. It can switch like that. So those are who I'm looking at.
TDP is out for a few weeks.
Yep.
So
you want to pop up that question again?
Yeah. Allen Robinson or Adam Thielen for this week? Who should he start?
All right, so the Vikings play the Lions in Minnesota. I expect that to be a shootout, but Adam Thielen has not done anything. Let's see, Allen Robinson. I don't remember off the top of my head who they play. They play the Cardinals. They play the Cardinals and Arizona. I think both games, honestly, I think both games could be a shootout. I personally like Allen Robinson more than Thielen. I'm going to have him ranked higher. I think he's more talented. Thielen's on the older side of 30. And I just prefer Stafford over Cousins.
Yeah, A-Rob caught a touchdown this week. If I'm not mistaken, it was like 6 for 60 and a touchdown or something like that.
Yeah, he also had a second one that would have been a touchdown, but they called the playback. So
I think
they're pushing him the ball.
That Rams offense is still getting better too. So as it gets better, I see more catches for Allen Robinson. But my wide receiver is Michael Gallup, still available in 56% of ESPN leagues. Jerry Jones said today that Dak could be coming back a lot sooner than we think, and I saw a report say it's not going to be this week, but it could be the next couple of weeks. Michael Gallup might come back this week or when Dak comes back. People forget that Michael Gallup was a top 30 receiver for, I think, 2 seasons with Dak at quarterback. I would not start him if he comes back with Cooper Rush, but I don't think it's that far-fetched to say that Michael Gallup could become their second target, maybe above Dalton Schultz, but even that third target in that offense could still produce.
Yeah, especially when Dak comes back.
And Dak loves Michael Gallup too.
But yeah, Michael he does. Gallup, and then they need somebody on the outside because they've got literally nobody.
You see how bad that offense is struggling.
Yeah. Real quick, just want to give you a shout out for telling somebody to start Kyle Phillips last week. I tried to tell you.
But I told you last night. I said Paul Perkins greater than whatever his stupid name is.
Kyle Phillips.
I apologize to him today. I said I'm sorry. He lost this week because of it. I feel awful. He said we posted the "Have you won your fantasy matchup or did you win your fantasy football matchup?" And he said no. Thanks to Kyle Phillips. And I was like, I am so sorry. That one's on me there, Bob.
Well, it is what it is. We've probably won him some games too, so don't be too hard on yourself. It's hard to get every call right. Kyle Phillips looked pretty good week 1, but Spencer just doesn't listen to me.
Nope.
So my wide receiver is another one coming back from injury, Rondell Moore. I think he's very talented, could easily emerge as the most targeted Arizona receiver. Marquise Brown, he's looked pretty good. Zach Ertz looked pretty good. None of them have just been like that dude. And I think Rondell Moore has a lot of talent. They're playing the Rams. If he does play this week, which I think he will, he plays in the slot a lot, so he may draw some Jalen Ramsey. Hopefully Ramsey stays on Marquise Brown. But Rondell Moore, I like his upside. If there's any of those stud rookies available, like Treylon Burks, Dotson, I doubt Drake London's available. Garrett Wilson had a blank there. Chris Olave, any of these guys, if they're available, throw them on the end of your bench. I think most all of them are on the come up. Garrett Wilson looked like the real deal. Drake London looked like the real deal.
Yeah, Garrett Wilson.
Olave, tons of targets. Good. Yes, that is a dude. So is Drake London. Both of them are dudes. If you've got them, I would hold on to them. Don't trade them away. Olave, if you can buy low on him, before he really pops off. And then Treylon Burks as well. I think Treylon Burks is a guy to buy low on as well.
Yeah. I'm going to go ahead to my tight end. I have 2 guys, but I'm going to let you get the other one. I'm sure you know who I'm talking about. But I'll go with Gerald Everett, who is available in 70% of leagues. I think I saw that he led tight ends in targets, or was second in tight end targets this week with 6 catches for 71. And prior to that, he had 3 catches on 4 targets for 54 yards and a touchdown. With Justin Herbert as his quarterback, I could see him supporting, Gerald Everett to a top 12 fantasy season. It's never really been about lack of talent for Gerald Everett. I think he played with Russell Wilson last year. Russell Wilson had all those injuries. Where did Gerald Everett play before that?
Before where?
Before Seattle.
Rams.
Yeah, and he had some good games there. But
yeah, he was competing with Higbee a lot, so
and had Jared Goff as his quarterback. But now I think Justin Herbert's starting to trust him more, except for that one play where Gerald Everett gave up on the goal line because he was dead.
Yeah, that was a bad look for both Everett and the team for Everett just gave up on the play, and then the team wouldn't let him catch a breather,
But
and then proceeded to throw him the ball.
I also think it shows that he has been targeted in the end zone twice now, so he
Yep.
could emerge. Obviously you have big Mike Williams, but he could emerge as that second target in the end zone, which could be big because the Chargers offense gets there a lot.
Yep. Very, very fluid. I assume the other guy you were talking about was Logan Thomas.
Yep.
Logan Thomas is currently owned in 20% of leagues. I think he's had a semi-slow start to the season because he's coming off injury, but I don't think anybody expected Carson Wentz to look this good. And if it keeps up, Logan Thomas could very easily become their second or third option behind Terry, Curtis Samuel, Dotson. And in the past, before he tore his ACL, he looked really good, really talented, and he was catching passes from anybody and everybody.
He was drafted as like a top 6 or 7 tight end a couple years ago.
Yeah, this year I want to say he was going in the late teens in drafts for tight ends, which I didn't really understand, but I never really looked into it that much, and I never really considered him. But now you see him, doing better. He caught a touchdown this week. Let's see how many targets he had. He had 5 targets, 3 catches, 37 yards, and a touchdown. And now you're like, what were you doing sleeping on him?
Yeah, it's someone who has Cole Kmet, who has 2 targets and 0 catches all year, and had the #1 waiver last week.
And was told to pick up Logan Thomas.
Oh, my gosh. I got Jeff Wilson, the stud. I'm going to trade him for Dalvin Cook. Souls said, should I pick up Cole Beasley? Does he have a Wes Welker role? Don't pick up Cole Beasley yet, but I could see him emerging as like a flex play in PPR leagues if they continue to have wide receiver health problems.
Yeah, I think this one really depends on Godwin because he's the guy who's going to be above Cole Beasley. If Godwin is out for an extended period of time, maybe pick up Beasley. I think he'd have a good game. Maybe ship him off or something, but I don't see him as really a big difference maker. But Tom Brady's loved the Wes Welkers, the Julian Edelmans. There's talk of Edelman coming down here, and Cole Beasley is exactly like that kind of player, the third down guy. But I think it really depends on the health of Chris Godwin, just because that's their slot guy.
Yeah, I don't think you should pick him up just yet, especially in like 10 or 12 team leagues. I don't think you have anybody who's droppable for him. I see much better options on the waivers. I mean, if you want to pick him up after he shows that he gets consistent targets, then maybe. But I mean, even when he was in Buffalo, when he was a big part, he was really only like a PPR, like low end flex play.
Yeah, he just doesn't have much upside. If he is the slot receiver, like if Godwin's hurt, he's got a decent floor because he's going to get open. Brady will throw him the ball, but he's not going to win you many weeks. No, and he could very easily lose you a week.
Yeah, I don't see Cole Beasley ever really starting on any fantasy rosters. I do have him in our 32 team dynasty league though. Never traded him away or released him, so that's a W.
Yeah.
Do we have any Twitter questions?
We do have Twitter questions. Not as many are about picking up or dropping players. Pablo Escobar asks, is Travis Etienne a drop? I'm going to say absolutely not. I think there's way too much upside there. He's looked good when he has the ball. He should have already had a couple tuds.
Etienne, Breece Hall, who's another one? Kenneth Walker. None of those guys are drops. Back a couple years ago, a lot of people were asking, is it soon enough to drop Cam Akers, Jonathan Taylor, DeAndre Swift? I know I dropped DeAndre Swift in our league, and he didn't do anything that year, but it just takes a little bit to get going, especially for running backs. I could see one of them like coming and finishing like top 20 rest of the season.
Yeah, if I had to pick one, I'd probably go Breece Hall, just because I think Breece Hall is built just a little bit different from the other guys.
I would go Travis Etienne. I think he's the most explosive.
I still think Breece Hall is, but I think James Robinson is much better than Michael Carter, and I just think Breece Hall's probably got a more defined role, or defined path to that RB1 in New York. And both offensive look pretty good so far, surprisingly.
We just have to see when Zach Wilson gets back because, Joe Flacco has looked good, but he's also been playing down. Like, he's been coming from behind. And that's why Breece Hall is getting a ton of passing work. I know he rushed a touchdown, I think.
Mm-hmm.
But it's
No,
it's
he
hard.
caught one. He caught one.
He caught one. It's
Yeah.
it's hard to run the ball when you're down by 14-21 the whole game. But they came back this week, so I don't know.
Yeah, it may be a good time to buy low on Travis Etienne because this last week, they beat the brakes off the Colts. They blew them out. I think they shut them out. In fact, they were up 20 something nothing, and so they were just going to pound the ball with J-Rob. So that's not the norm.
I think a lot of people downplayed like James Robinson. I don't think anybody expected him to come back and look like J-Rob again.
Yeah, and he had that 20-something yard touchdown. He looked really good. I mean, I was like, what the heck?
As an owner of Travis Etienne, I think Nathan was a little bit, fall.
Yeah, I was like, Achilles. No, I'm kidding.
Grab the leg.
Yeah, but Etienne, I do think looks more explosive than J-Rob. J-Rob's probably more used to NFL speed. If something were to happen to J-Rob, where would you rank Etienne? I would rank him inside top 15. I think he's getting all the touches.
I think top 20. I have J-Rob. I think I have J-Rob around 22. I think I have Etienne around 35. Yeah, maybe top 15. But I think if Michael Carter got hurt, I don't think Breece Hall would move inside the top 20.
I think he would too. Getting all the touches there, I think he would. Yeah. It's going to be Ty Johnson as his competition?
Yeah,
he sucks.
I don't know.
Ty Johnson sucks.
Oh, wow. Dobbins is on the waivers in this guy's league. And he's asking us, should we pick up Cole Beasley? No, you pick up Dobbins and you drop, I think, Elijah.
Do you have any other options? Do you have an IR spot you can put Mitchell on? Do you? Yeah, I'd want to see his team.
If you had to drop one of these two guys, who are you dropping? I think probably Elijah Mitchell. That's tough.
Do you start Michael Carter right now? Because if not, I'd probably drop Michael Carter. I just think Elijah Mitchell's got the higher upside.
Yeah, but you got to put in a waiver claim for J.K. Dobbins. So
yeah, he's got more upside than both of these guys combined. So
I think probably a safer floor too.
Yeah, and he may get a little bit of time before Gus Bus comes back.
Is it a hot take to say that Dobbins has a higher floor than these guys have ceilings?
Yes, I do not agree with that.
Elijah Mitchell, if you don't have an IR spot, can you really wait 8 weeks for him to come back? Like, I know that.
Yeah, that's why I want to see his team.
I know I wouldn't. I wouldn't wait. Yeah, if you're in a 10-12 team league, I wouldn't wait 8 weeks for Elijah Mitchell to come back.
Unless you have an IR spot.
Yeah. Like, I dropped Elijah Mitchell in a league where I had to put Dak on the IR spot.
Yeah, that's never easy.
Do we have any more questions?
We do. I'm answering one right now. Hold on. Just don't really relate to this video. Yep.
PPR, Garrett Wilson, Treylon Burks, or Jahan Dotson?
I think you can rule out Burks until Tannehill shows differently. I think not Dotson. I think Garrett Wilson's got to have the highest ceiling. The dude looks like a freak.
It's rest of the season. Garrett Wilson, especially when Zach Wilson comes back.
Dotson looks. I mean, they both look like the real deal.
Soul says, I have IR. Then put Elijah Mitchell on there and pick up Dobbins.
Yeah. I answered that guy's question. Put Wilson. I think it's Garrett Wilson.
Wilson looks really good.
And then Jay Moret said, who should I drop to pick up Garrett Wilson?
I'm looking at his team right now. I would drop. I don't think it's a super flex league. I would drop Matt Ryan.
Yeah, I don't see much value in keeping Matt Ryan as a backup quarterback.
Or I don't see much value as keeping.
I'd maybe cut Gainwell.
Yeah, I don't. Or Cole Kmet. He sucks.
He does.
Yeah, Cole Kmet's just a depressing player to watch right now.
That whole offense, what a shit show.
I had a question earlier that said, is Mooney droppable?
I think it depends on the size of your league.
I think right now you got to give it one more week.
In like a standard 12-team league, I'm not dropping Mooney. If he was on, for example, if he was on waivers, I'd probably make a claim for him. because he's got really nice upside, but that offense is so
If Garrett
bad.
Wilson and Darnell Mooney was on the waivers, who would you pick up?
Garrett Wilson. I'd pick Garrett Wilson.
I
mean, what evidence is there to pick up Mooney?
Yeah, Mooney.
Would you agree? Would you pick up Wilson?
It depends on what you need. If you're not going to start, if you're not forced to start one of them anytime soon, I would pick up Garrett Wilson for upside. If you were to maybe have to throw one in because you're dealing with injury or something, I would pick up Darnell Mooney because I do think he'll turn it around, and I do think he's the safer play. But if you're going for, hey, I'm going for the league, I think you pick up Garrett Wilson.
Yeah, we are not playing to not lose. We're playing to win. Upside.
I am just playing not to lose now. I need a win.
It's only 2 games. I'm looking on our website at our rankings. Where do we have the 2 ranked? So we have Garrett Wilson at 36, Darnell Mooney at 39. And you were saying you would have Darnell as the play now. We have Darnell Mooney ranked much higher than I do. You've got him ranked at 30. I have him at 45. And they're playing Houston.
I do think that he turns it around. Maybe 30 is a little optimistic, but it's Darnell Mooney. I mean, he's a good player, and they got to figure something out.
Yeah, I've got Garrett Wilson ranked a little higher than you. I've got him at 32 this week. You've got him at 39. I just the situation. It's as weird as it is to say, I like Flacco and the Jets offense better than Fields and the Bears.
That's so bad to say, but it's really the truth right now.
Who would you take rest of the season between Garrett Wilson and Elijah Moore? Because Elijah Moore had a good connection with Zach Wilson.
That is tough. That's really, really tough.
I think Garrett Wilson's got the upside. I'd go with Wilson.
Yeah, but Elijah Moore is really good too.
He is. I think Garrett Wilson, next year we may be talking about drafting him in the first 4 rounds. I think there's a chance.
Yeah. Jason Bearline says,
shout out, Jason.
Superflex 4-point passing touchdowns or TDs, or I don't know why I'm stuck on this. Have Lamar and Tua, lost Lance. Need a backup and bye week replacement. His quarterback available, and he was telling us, the bye week, they're the ones available who have the bye weeks open. Garoppolo, who have the Chargers in Arizona in week 10 and 11. I don't know if I'm going to read out the matchups just because it's so long and so much can happen.
I don't think it really matters. I'm taking Mariota.
Yeah, especially Carolina and Chicago. I am not picking up Davis Mills. Not happening.
Yeah, just responding saying Mariota. I think Mariota is a good play regardless. What he offers with his legs is added value, and he looks good. Drake London looks like a good. I expect Kyle Pitts to get going. They have to. Kyle Pitts is so good. I don't know what they're doing.
It's like you need to split Drake London's targets and give some to Kyle Pitts. It's if you can get Drake London open. I saw Field Yates saying this, be creative. You have a 6'5" tight end who can fly. Get him open.
With some of the best hands in the league. One of the fastest players in the league regardless.
You got to just start doing something. He's so talented. You drafted him 4th overall, for God's sakes. You made Arthur Smith, made Jonnu Smith a top 5 tight end at one point. Come on. Do something.
Look at Pitts last year when he had, the reincarnation of old Eli Manning back there. Can't move his feet. And he still put up over 1,000 yards.
Yeah.
As a Drake London owner, I'm excited because Mariota seeks out Drake London. I don't know why he doesn't seek out Kyle Pitts. They should have 90% of their targets between the two of them.
Just a Take says, I got a trade question. Antonio Gibson and Travis Etienne for Saquon. That's an interesting one. If you're starting both of them, I would not. If you have one of them on the bench, I'm assuming you're starting Antonio Gibson, sitting Travis Etienne. Ooh, that's a tough one because Brian Robinson is coming back.
Jog.
I am not as high on Saquon as others are.
You think week 1 was a fluke?
I wouldn't say it's a fluke, but I think that offense is abysmal, and I don't think he's a top 5 running back like some people are making him out to be.
I think most people have been ranking him just inside their top 10 this week. I think that's probably about right.
I saw either it was Fantasy Pros or ESPN. I think had him at 4 or 5. I can't
That would have
remember.
been Fantasy Pros. ESPN had him at like 8, I think.
Yeah, Fantasy Pros had him at 4 or 5 this morning when we were doing our rankings. But yeah, I mean, 4 or 5. Like, are you serious? Like,
To be fair though, like Saquon is the guy. Like if he finished 4th or 5th, you would be like, oh yeah, that's Saquon.
but like that offense, just I know they're 2-0,
And they suck.
They're not.
They play
great.
Dallas. They play Dallas, right?
And that's a really tough matchup.
Yeah, because Micah Parsons, you saw what he did to the Bengals. I mean,
he made Joe Mixon a buy low candidate this week. So
yeah. Maybe tell just to wait one more week and let Micah Parsons bring Saquon's value down for you.
And then maybe you could just swap him for Antonio Gibson.
God, can you imagine if you could do that? Oh my gosh, I would try and hold on to ETN as well. Maybe trade somebody other than ETN. I really like ETN's potential.
I would not do that trade just yet.
Yeah.
But I think that is it for the questions. We will have rankings videos out Wednesday and Thursday. Quarterbacks and running backs tomorrow. Wide receivers and tight ends on Thursday. We are doing the tier rankings. So look out for those videos. Follow us at the FF Fanatics 3 on Twitter and the FFfanatics.com. Nathan, anything you guys say?
Make sure you subscribe to the channel while you're here. Hope you enjoy the content. If there's anything that we are not giving you guys that you want to see or anything that you want us to take away, please let us know either in the YouTube comments or hit us on Twitter. And we look forward to seeing you in the next one.
Peace.
Peace.